And welcome back to the Cisco TV studio. Every time we watch those highlights from the keynote, we're just reminded of what an incredible job Dave and company did of setting the stage for Cisco Live 2019 Barcelona. They really put out the challenge to everybody in the industry, and we are here to respond to that challenge. Thanks to all of you for tuning in. So we're always talking digital transformation. That is the topic of the day. Right now, we're going to shift into blockchain a little bit. I've got Anup Nanra here with me. How are you, Anup?
Pretty good, fantastic show.
Thanks for coming out of there and inside the light wall to be a part of our conversation here today. So Anup is head of our blockchain initiative here at Cisco. What are we doing? We're building trust-based business networks for the digital transformation era each and every day. So let me start by asking, why did we here at Cisco decide to enter into the blockchain space?
It's a great question, and when we started the journey 4 years ago, one of the questions that we had was, how do we leverage the network to actually enforce and create trust in multi-stakeholder operating environments, right? And so the idea that you can actually have different networks, different network segments, different environments, different ecosystems, but all share information that is critical to the functioning of business, we say it's a great opportunity for the network. So how do we actually do that? How do we enforce trust across these very disparate environments and make that happen from a business outcomes perspective?
The security question must come up again and again and again in every conversation that you have. How do you address it?
So one of the big misconceptions that still exists in the blockchain space is if you introduce blockchain, you're now secure. Not true at all. You still need to adhere to best practices on security. You still need to use the best tools that are out there. And one of the things that we've done in our own blockchain platform that we've built is we've actually integrated with some of the best tools that we have in-house, right? Some of the best products that we have. So we're actually building in, from the ground up, a completely secure platform. And we're actually, we're not saying that if you introduce blockchain, you're now secure.
Sure.
You still have to, use those best tools, and that's what we've kind of baked in from the ground up.
And really only Cisco would be able to do that because of the depth and breadth of the security package we deliver. How is what we are delivering in blockchain different from what the competition is offering today?
So we're still in early field trials, right? So we don't have an orderable product just yet. But what we've been doing is validating a number of key concepts with hundreds of customers. And the one thing that keeps coming back over and over again is the network fully decentralized, in that there is no one point of attack that can bring down a business operating environment. So we've fully decentralized every single function within the stack. On top of that, we've got a very novel approach around role-based access controls. So the dominant model around how do you share information and maintain confidentiality in the blockchain space is you stand up another blockchain. Our approach, it's completely flat. And we treat confidentiality almost like a network policy. So if there's a change in the relationship between the different counterparties that are participating on a blockchain network, the response of what they see for how long and when and who they can share information with is real time. So that addresses a number of key challenges that still exist in the blockchain space, and we feel we've got a very compelling solution there.
What do you see as being the time frame on this for delivery, where we envision it being?
So the space is still information. The market is still information. And so one of the things that we're doing is we're taking a very pragmatic approach to blockchain. We are ensuring that we're delivering the right kind of capabilities in a fashion that our existing channels, our existing partners, developers can actually leverage the technology at the right point, in the right time, in their own journeys. And so the journey that we're on right now is to take the software stack that we've built and try to figure out how much of it can we actually shift into the network, right? And so now the idea here is, if you've got a Cisco deployed network, with the flick of a license, you can now be a blockchain network.
Tell me about the pressures that we are feeling from the marketplace to get this out to them as rapidly as possible. As you said, the market is still in development at this point. We're not entirely sure what it's going to be, what it's going to look like. We have to roll it out and beta it in the proper ways to make sure that it's functional. What sort of pressures are we feeling here at Cisco that we would really like these capabilities as soon as possible, if you would?
It's a great question, and one of the things that has come out recently, there was an article that was posted that 90% of Fortune 1000 companies are investing in blockchain.
Wow. I mean,
right?
How was that compared to, say, 3 years ago?
3 years ago, it was the large banks that were investing in the technology.
That was certainly what was in the news all the time.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so now, we're seeing other industries, other markets pick up. So supply chain is very hot. Healthcare and pharma is very hot. We're seeing defense agencies trying to understand what blockchain is. How can we actually instill and distribute trust in a defense agent, in defense networks? So lots of opportunities. We're seeing a lot of interest in healthcare.
Yeah.
Right.
Healthcare drives so much of the market. When you walk the show floor here, you go across the WAS and you realize how many applications are directly related to the healthcare industry because the finance of it is extraordinary. Follow the money, right? Follow the money,
follow the insurance mechanisms, the regulatory environments. It's really an exciting time, very exciting time, because with the introduction of the technology, and I think with our ability to actually integrate it into the network, we provide a very compelling solution set that I don't think really anybody else can actually deliver on.
Well, let's dive a little deeper into that. How do we leverage our existing infrastructure, our ecosystem, our partners to build out this great blockchain solution?
Yeah, so the stack that we've built is intentionally designed to be completely heterogeneous. So it operates in the cloud, it operates on-prem, it doesn't matter which cloud, right? And so, it's inherently multi-cloud capable. And what's interesting is, as we're moving this into the network, we're identifying specific functionality that allows us to address some of the challenges around scale and performance. Moving some of that functionality in, you can actually get global performance, which does not exist in the blockchain space. So we're excited. We're seeing use cases around trusted compliance, trusted infrastructure, trusted data, audit, real-time digital forensics of a network that can be shared in a secure and confidential fashion with the broader ecosystem who needs to see that kind of data. And so we figured the network is probably the best way to do that.
So as we focus on the network as the way to make this deliverable, make this into a rollout, make it practical, just give us a little insight into your brain. How do you strategize something like this? What are the steps in the process the way you see them right now?
Yeah, so one of the biggest gaps today still is a lack of operationalized blockchain technologies. How do you use it? How do you integrate with it? How do you build simple applications on top? Our objective is to be able to make the instantiation, the connection to, the consumption of trust-based services that are built on blockchain technology as simple as opening a port on an appliance.
Love it.
Right? The user experience must be streamlined. So when we look at this, we're looking at what are those critical use cases where it's paramount that data needs to be shared, where transactions need to be made known across an ecosystem, but how do we do that in a very simple and efficient fashion, right? We can't have very complex interfaces. It needs to be almost like second nature. And that's the objective.
Absolutely. Simple, scalable, right?
And
secure all the way through. If people want to learn a little bit more about blockchain, what is their best way to go and do that?
We have a landing page on Cisco.com, cisco.com/go/blockchain. Our white paper's there. For folks that are here at Cisco Live, we have a number of demos, live demos, in the world of solutions, demos around IoT energy management, compliance, audit, infrastructure integrity. So lots of great use cases. We have great supply chain use cases, great network use cases. Come by, the team's there, we're happy to talk.
That's why you got to be here at the show to make that happen, right?
Absolutely.
Anip Nanra, a pleasure. Thank you so much for the time to talk today. Go learn more about blockchain. Right now, we're going to toss it out to my friend Rob, who is in the Innovation Network Zone. We're going to learn a little bit more about AI and ML, another hot topic here at the show, right, Rob?
Absolutely. We are talking data and all that comes along with it, because the idea of data is not enough anymore, right? You got to say, well, what do you mean? What are we doing with our data? What are we going to have? What are we going to make happen? And there's no better place to get specific than right here. We're on the World of Solutions floor, and Guillaume is here joining me. Gosh, I hope I pronounced that correctly.
Hi, Rob. Absolutely, you did.
Well, you have some fantastic examples from your fellow team members here about where we're actually doing some big projects, but you thought it important to also understand exactly how we're using data when it comes to smart cities, when we're really starting to grasp. But what's important is a foundational understanding here.
Absolutely right. So let me walk you through some of the stuff we're incubating at the moment in the CTO team.
Okay.
And there's a lot of things we're doing with AI and how AI can help, artificial intelligence can help with smart cities. But before we do any of that, we need to get hold of the data. This is the key for us.
Okay.
And when you're dealing with complex systems like a smart city or a factory, data is coming from everywhere. So we really need this layer of this platform to actually broker the data to the application developer in a structured way. And this is what Pete Rye can actually walk us through with the Kaleido project.
Excellent. Okay, hey, I'm Rob with Cisco TV. How are you doing?
I'm good.
So tell me a little bit about what you've, I'll hold the mic for you, and you want to just point at something here, or tell me what do we have going on?
Okay, so we're working on a platform here called Kaleido. So there is an explosion of data. There's lots of data because of digitalization, but there's also an explosion of algorithms and insight and techniques to process the data. But what we're finding is that the people who have the data and need the insight often aren't in the same organization as the people who have the algorithms and need the data. And there's no kind of brokerage for these people to come together. People are doing very ad hoc things, creating ad hoc agreements and zip files and things like that. Kaleido is a platform that allows people who have data to engage with people who need data for insight. It does it by allowing the data owners to create a firm access policy, how fast they can draw the data, for how long, from which region. It allows them to create the correct legal context, the licensing, the attribution, and critically, it allows them to create the right data segment. So only the people can see the data they're allowed to see, and that data can be segmented between different vendors. It comes in with an entire solution, a whole developer portal, which allows them to manage their user base, allocate keys, approve people on and off the platform, see who are the bad actors, and kick them off if they're not playing by the rules.
That's excellent. I think what you just reminded me, however, and we're going to step around the other side, so thank you very much, but what that's telling me is that the idea of collecting data gets a little more complex when you start thinking
Absolutely
through it.
right.
Yeah?
But the good news now is that we do have data. So what are we going to do with this data? We are going to do some fun AI
I'll let you
stuff.
lead the way, please.
So what Hugo Ladabi is going to show you guys is how we apply artificial intelligence to one of the most interesting sense of video analytics. There's a ton we can do here. But Hugo will also show you how beyond just video analytics we can apply artificial intelligence to entire situation analysis and do some real reasoning about what's going on in this part of the city and actually assist humans to take complex decisions.
Excellent. So we're starting to leverage our data. I'm going to do it this way for you. I'll come around here. So I'll hold your microphone for you. Thank you so much for being willing to meet with us here. So tell us more about how do we actually do what he's talking about there.
Okay, fantastic. So what we have here basically are two different systems that we're showing. One is a commercial product that's CX Diffusion that's available today. And this system here basically applies state-of-the-art machine learning, deep learning that we've been developing for 3 years to count and track people in a smart city context, very crowded environments, 90% accuracy, very easy to use. You just point a camera to it. It could be existing or it could be a new camera. It also does things like man down detection, and there's a lot of different behavioral things that people are looking for, violence and that sort of thing. In addition, what the CX team has done here that's a high value is that they've interfaced to all existing sorts of infrastructures like CKC, Cisco Kinetic for Cities, Kinetic. If you want to send an email when something occurs, if there's a rules engine in here that I can actually show you briefly. We can get a camera down here in a second. So this is actually live. I can show the live video of this thing working, but this is a shot of the rules engine where you can easily define something like, okay, you have a zone over here, the car count exceeded or the people count exceeded, send an email to somebody. So a lot of interesting things here. That's on the truck today. The more advanced capability that we have is over here, which what we're showing, and I want to just kind of move this video over. We're going to have to wrap up, sorry. So what we're showing here basically is how you can reason and essentially find automatically behaviors in an intersection. It learns to detect, okay, I know what a sidewalk, what a road is, and therefore I can determine, is this person jaywalking? Are they walking in the wrong place? It learns the traffic light patterns. It could say, I can predict accidents. I can optimize traffic. So the possibilities for this and also for networking are tremendous, right? So a lot of interest in this. This is ready for our early field trials, but thank you very much. Sorry.
No, I'm sorry to rush you. I can tell I'm rushing you.
Into 1 minute,
Exactly. No, I want to come back and talk to you further. I want to thank you very much because we are going to have to run back to the studio. Final
pleasure,
point, though,
Rob.
as we do it.
Well, final point, we're applying this not just to smart cities, but also to schools and safer schools, how we can, simplify how we get into the schools and bring safety there. So it's really a lot of domains and different verticals and industries which we can help with this.
Perfect. Guys, I want to thank you so much. Steve, I'm going to come back to you because I'm going to have to talk to this gentleman separately because we're running out of time. But I'm going to talk to him and maybe see if we can get him back on later. Thank you, Steve. Take care.
Thank you, Rob. I appreciate it again. So much to talk about with AI and ML. They are such a huge talk of the show here. I've got Vinay Nishanian here with me. How are you, my friend?
I'm great, Steve. Good to see you.
We were trying to figure out if it had been in Orlando or if it was here last year. But
I thought it was special, but clearly neither of us remember.
We've got the connection. We just don't put it out onto the camera
That's
for
right.
the rest of the world to see. Vinay is our VP of Worldwide Software Sales here at Cisco. So glad to have you with me. We're going to talk a little bit about the Cisco software strategy. Software has become the conversation. It has become the talk, and it was a dramatic shift. It actually started several years ago where we needed to make this gigantic shift into the SaaS model. And what I want to talk to you about today is moving away from the single sales strategy into the subscription strategy. First of all, how we got to this point from your perspective.
Yeah, no, it's a great discussion and it's a great conversation, Steve, right? There's a lot of dynamics and details we could talk about, but where I think it makes sense to start is always our customers, right? What are our customers doing? What do they care about? And ultimately, how does our strategy help them in their journey? And at a high level, what you see across every customer in every industry is they're going through a digital transformation. And I know that's a buzzword, but to get specific and tactical, what it most significantly means is I think it means they care about their app and their app experience. And how they deliver that application experience to their end users entirely dictates success and failure in the new world. So a lot of what we're doing around software and subscription is to enable a better app experience for our customers. Whether you talk about AppD and its capabilities to monitor an application and proactively deliver performance notifications so that our users can proactively respond to that, leveraging automation into the network via DNA and ACI to better manage parameters to actually respond to those notifications and improve performance around automation, analytics, and assurance. Or if you go further into the security stack and how we protect app data, protect user data in a more subscription and automated and cloud-based way to deliver better intelligence, more real time to our customers so they can make decisions. But I think if you come back to where we're going at the network level with policy, is if you have the right policy, rather than you manually having to intervene, we can in an automated fashion implement that and inform fundamentally so the time to response is faster and better and more real time to deliver that app experience.
You just absolutely hit on it. Whenever I'm in this conversation with somebody, it goes to those points of agility and security.
That's right.
And I think for a lot of that, we didn't know that we didn't have those things before. Until we started to make the software move, the agility question didn't come into play. We simply had what we needed, we put it into action, but we didn't realize what we didn't know. Now, I think with the subscription-based model, the upgrades are so consistent, they are moving so rapidly that we no longer have to wait to know that we've got the best app that we possibly can at every given time, working the way we need it to work for us.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we didn't have those capabilities, but also let's recognize that our customers' needs for those capabilities have rapidly accelerated, and so we're moving fast to stay in front of that, right? And I think that's important. We shouldn't be too self-critical. The reality is Cisco's been in the software business since its inception. A big part of what's differentiated our hardware has been the software, and our engineering teams will tell you a good chunk of their time and effort is spent on software engineering. What's different and what's unique is how we're unlocking that value, monetizing it, making it easier for our customers to consume, giving them more flexibility in how they navigate it. And that's what's different, but make no mistake, software is not new for Cisco. If you go back 25 years, what differentiated our routers against the competitors of those days was the software, and we've always been great about it, right? And let's be honest about that.
Yeah, we're allowed to humble brag a little bit, right?
That's right.
I think it's kind of part of it. What do you think was the tipping point that got us to this older model that you're talking about? We've always been in the sphere. Now we need to make it something new and different to be able to serve the customer in the best possible way. What do you think finally said, time to make this big move?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of things, right? I mean, that's a good question, and again, I'll try to keep the answer tight because I could probably spend a long time on this.
We're good with that.
But I think fundamentally what we've seen, again, with our customers and in the industry is more of a hunger for real-time access to innovation that doesn't require a forklift upgrade cycle of hardware. I think we've seen more desire for flexibility in how they consume. We've seen customer feedback for a long time that says, how come I have to buy new software licenses every time I buy a new box? Like, that doesn't seem right. So there's been some customer-driven demand. I think if you combine that with what's been happening in the industry and the ecosystem around cloud, and how that's enabled a new level of flexibility in terms of how customers consume things like compute resources as a service, I think they've had that experience and they've said, hey, Cisco, I'd like more of that because I'm doing that on certain parts of my business and I'd like alignment and consistency. And then I think we've also had a business transition towards more predictable revenue and a more life cycle experience across not just how we sell, but how we deliver the whole experience. That's I think all come together around this strategy, right?
Do you ever personally see any resistance to the SaaS model or hear about it out there in the customer field?
So I think resistance is a strong word, right? I think what we're cognizant of is we need to consistently provide our customers flexibility and choice. It's impossible to find one model that works for every customer in the globe when you look at the segments and the geographies we play in. So while there is a set of customers that like SaaS for the simplicity it offers, we also see a set of customers, like predominantly in the public sector domain, who are limited in their ability to consume as a service and connect to clouds and put data there because of compliance and regulatory reasons. And so as we go forward in this model, we're cognizant of the need to navigate those scenarios and give customers the right set of options based on those dynamics. But we have to temper that with what we also see as a need for consistency, because the more we offer one-off options for every customer, the more we end up with a catalog of options that nobody can make sense of.
Sure.
And that creates a lot of challenge for our field, for our partners, and for our customers in figuring out what's the right option for them. So there's this balancing act we have to do, and as a Libra, I believe in balance between flexibility and between consistency that we are consistently refining.
If people want to learn a little bit more about the Cisco strategy for software, what it is that we're headed into, is there is it part of the website? Are there special assets that you can send people to?
Yeah, there's a number of assets on the web. I think it starts at either cs.co or cisco.com/go/software. That's the logical starting point, but
Perfect.
there are a ton of resources available on offers, around consumption models, around how we are delivering a better post-purchase adopt and usage experience with the CX org. There's a lot out there, but I think that's the logical starting point.
All right, fantastic. Vinay Nishani, thank you. I hope we can learn more. I hope we get a chance to talk to each other again in San Diego.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, Stephen. I've got to say, like, as far as hosts go, you're top-notch, man. You're top of the heap, and it's always a pleasure.
Crazy kind of. I got three other phenomenal hosts out there with me, but it is so lovely.
No, they're
of you
good
to say.
too.
Thank you,
and
my
if they
friend.
were here, I'd be telling them they're the best.
Of course you would.
But you're the best.
I'd count on it. We're going to head out to a great video right now that we want to share with you guys on Cisco Smart Accounts. Check it out. We'll see you in just a moment.
Unleash the power of Cisco Smart Accounts and Smart Licensing. Let your frustrations go while we help simplify your software licensing experience. With benefits like full visibility into your Cisco software assets across the entire company, you'll have information you need right at your fingertips. Organize your licenses the way you want with the help of virtual accounts. You decide what works best for your organization. The result, better utilization and more efficient planning. With Smart Licensing, you can move licenses freely through the network when and where they're needed. You're in control. These are just some of the benefits with Smart Accounts. It's fast and free to get started, not to mention easy. To set up your account, go to software.cisco.com, click on Request Smart Account, and enter your information. It's that easy to get started. So get started today and let Cisco Smart Accounts begin to simplify your licensing experience.
And we're going to keep that Smart Accounts story going right now. We're going to head to my friend Igor Misabayeva, who is out on the Cisco Showcase floor in the Accounts Licensing booth. Igor, are you out there somewhere?
Yes, Steve. I'm here at World of Solutions, and I'm at the Smart Licensing booth. Well, I'm joined by Lisa Morway, who is working for the software marketing team. Hi, Lisa. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. Thank you.
Thanks for being here. So, Lisa, we've got a few questions about smart licensing because I think Steve just had this conversation on the importance of software for our customers, and the next logical, thing is, how about licensing, right? If we are now, having all those different ways to consume software and so on, how do we make it easier for customers when it comes, to simplify their deployments in the licensing perspective?
It's a great question, and we've actually had a lot of people come by the booth over the last couple days and ask just that. So smart licensing is a new flexible licensing model that we have that helps customers easily activate and manage their software licenses. So what we've heard in the past is it's very difficult to keep track of what they've got, they don't know what they own, and so what that leads to is there's either they're not in compliance or they buy too many licenses because they don't really know what they have. So what we're attempting to do with smart licensing is enable everyone to know what they own and what they're currently using.
Well, that sounds great because I have a lot of customers and I can tell you they really have no idea what kind of licensing they have. And sometimes, I speak to them and I'm like, okay, do you run this technology? And they're like, well, I still have my licensing in the box and I never installed it, right? So there's clearly quite some challenges in that space, and I'm extremely enthusiastic that you're changing that, right? So, what is the smart licensing portal that I've heard of?
So the beauty of smart licensing is you do have one central portal where you can view all of your licenses. So now you have insight into everything that you own, whereas before with pack licenses or classic licenses, you really didn't know. They were attached to either a person or a device, and a company overall didn't understand what they own. So now with this central portal to manage the licenses, you have insight to everything you own. So you know what you're using and you know what you have available. So it helps provide insight for purchasing, and it's also a much greater utilization of licenses.
Sounds amazing. So how can my customers get an account?
Well, it's easy. Important thing to know is that with smart licensing, you do need a smart account. A smart account is free. You can go to software.cisco.com and sign up. It just takes a couple minutes. And even if you're not using smart licensing, it's important to set up an account so you're ready to go. And then you can also find out more information on the Cisco website. Just search for smart licensing or smart accounts, and you'll get tons of information.
All right, sounds great. So what are the products and solutions that are enabled for smart licensing?
Well, you might be surprised to hear that actually about 2/3 of Cisco products are currently smart license enabled. So there's a lot that are available today, and our model moving forward is to actually use smart licensing. So it's really important that you get started. If you want to find out exactly what products are smart license, you can go to the website, go to resources, and we've got tools there where you can see the products that are licensed, and you can also see what's coming on the roadmap. So really helpful tools.
All right, well, Lisa, thank you so much for being with us here. I think this is really so relevant to all of our customers. Appreciate your time.
All right, thank you.